And welcome to this edition of Kabiro Straight Talk. This is Kabiro FM and I'm your host, Rhodes Msonkom. Today in the program, I'm joined by Godfrey Mfiti, Executive Director of Institute of Sustainable Development, ISD. Let me welcome you to the program today.
Thank you so much, Rhodes.
You were recently in Mangochi district where a number of activities did take place. You cleaned some parts of the lake and later on the President commissioned the water project there. Can you first of all listen to this voice of the President, Peter Mutharika?
I want to thank the friends of this country who have conducted an intensive cleaning campaign at Cape Maclear in the last week. Or keep the lake clean and keep it on the list of World Heritage Sites. Those who worry about our plans to explore and drill oil have no reason to fear. If we decide to drill oil in the lake, we'll make sure that we use onshore clean technology. We value our lake and will ensure that we implement measures to protect it at all costs.
All along you have opposed the idea for the government to explore oil and gas in Lake Malawi. Does this take away your fears on the issue?
The fears still remain intact. There is no compromise. If we are to explore or drill oil in Lake Malawi, we expect to face environmental challenges. It's going to have a negative environmental impact to the people of Malawi and to the entire biodiversity that we have in this lake.
There is a conflict here, clearly. You're looking at the environmental part of it when the government is talking about economy. Which one outweighs the other?
On the economic part, I'm not sure whether an economic benefit analysis has been done, because at present the lake offers unaccounted benefits in form of fisheries, in form of drinking water, water for agricultural activities, tourism, which all contribute a huge sum to the GDP. We have over 2 million people living along the lake shore whose livelihood entirely depend on this lake. And these people do contribute to the economy, but they are informally employed. Most of them are entrepreneurs. They trade in petty businesses, but they make a living, which contributes to the economy. Now, I'm not sure how the oil industry, especially the oil drilled from Lake Malawi, will contribute to the economy.
As you're talking now, Mr. Mfiti, it's almost 2 million people that are benefiting from the kind of business that you're talking about. But if the oil is to be explored and, of course, drilled at the end of the day, the feeling is that the whole country will benefit. How to look at it?
May I ask you, Rod, to take drinking water from Lake Malawi? Already we have Northern Region Water Board doing that, Central Region Water Board doing that, Southern Region, the Blantyre Water Board, gets its water from the Workers' Ferry, which is an outlet of Lake Malawi. Now, the Lilongwe Water Board at present is embarking on a project to tap drinking water from the same lake. Are these benefits going to be accounted for? Are these benefits only benefiting the 2 million people?
This has been a long-standing issue. I mean, it has been there for many, many years. At some point, we saw government suspending the licenses that were awarded to companies or contractors to undertake this project. Should we say that there have been talks between you, environmentalists, and those in government, or you're just making noise?
Please. The licenses were awarded 8 days before the 2014 general elections, which is very absurd, unfortunate, and the technocrats in government who I have interacted with, they were left out in those negotiations, apart from drafting the initial consultations where they were involved.
So
on the signing of the actual contract.
Do you suspect something fishy happened?
Exactly. Something, there is a strong suspicion that they were not done in good faith. And then we found out in November 2014, this new government now suspended the oil licenses until February 2016. However, we have not had a clear response on the position on what has changed. There were recommendations from the Attorney General's office. There were some issues. They have not clearly explained on how these have been addressed.
Now, we have heard from the President, his government is likely to proceed with this initiative, with this project. What will be your next course of action?
Upon hearing the President, I tried to meet some of the members from government. They assured me that the President did not specifically say that they are proceeding with the oil exploration and drilling. They are saying that the President wanted to maintain ownership of the lake. However, I cannot speak on their behalf.
Do you? You were there, Mr. Mfiti, and I've just played what the President said. What are you getting from his own words?
To myself, I think if the process is going to proceed, then it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate because of the processes. The oil licenses in the first place have to be investigated. Secondly, it's not feasible to drill oil in Lake Malawi and expect the same lake to provide drinking water, fisheries, and all those other things. But on the same note, it will be a crime against humanity. It will affect a huge millions of people in this country.
But the President has assured you that measures will be put in place to make sure that the lake is protected. Why are you still worried?
We're talking of environmental compliance in this country. Who is enforcing environmental compliance in this country? If you can travel from the south to the north of this country, you will find companies that fail to comply to environmental standards. But nothing is done. Nothing is done at all. You in Brante there, you have the Moody River, that is highly polluted. In Lilongwe, you have many other rivers. Now, if you pollute the entire lake, how are you going to control that? Who is going to enforce the legislations? The environmental compliance will be done by who? Especially the enforcement. Who is going to enforce that? So it's unfortunate that we are risking this. It's not a risk worth it. We cannot sell off Lake Malawi.
Recently you did ask traditional leaders along the shores of Lake Malawi to oppose the idea. Do you still maintain this call to these chiefs?
Yes, I still maintain the local leaders need to take a long stand, because there is a need for environmental education in this country. People must understand how these processes affect their own lives. Especially when we're talking of drilling and exploring oil on a lake, people must understand how this is going to affect their life, their livelihood, and the future of this lake.
Do you think the traditional leaders are taking heed of that? Because for a long time we have seen traditional leaders working with the government of the day. And do you think they will take heed of that call?
They are. They will take heed of that call. What you need to know is that they do not fully understand what is going to be involved. They have neither consented to the process or not. But what they need is environmental education. And at this moment, I have not had any clear position. The process has not been ratified. I should say the president's speech per se, when I asked the responsible personalities, they are saying that it is not meant that a go-ahead has been given as in now.
Well, we have been talking to a number of people that are holding different views on this matter. And on the line here I have Professor John Chisi, who is president of Umod's party. Professor Chisi, clearly you're supporting the idea for the government to explore oil in Lake Malawi.
Yeah, on condition that, and I think this is to be done, that whoever is going to do it, we should have the instruments for monitoring and evaluation and meeting the targets which we want, yes.
Now, the fear that Mr. Mfiti is raising is to do with the well-being of the lake. We talk about fish, the water that people get from the lake. All this will be affected.
Okay, let's put it in this other context. The lake, the fish, these were created by God. Now if you are spiritual, let's put it that way. But the oil also, God who has created it. And what he has done is he has put it under the water, under the fish. So he's challenging us. God is challenging us. I want you, man, to be blessed. I've given you water, I've given you fish, I've given you oil. What are you going to do about it? So that is something which we, as a people, should know, that these are blessings which God has given us and has given us insight. He gave us the skills of what to fish. He gave us the way to use the lake as for vessels, for the ilaras and all sorts of things. He has given us that lake to use and to prosper with it. But he has also put oil there, which he wants us to use. So how can God then create a situation where he puts all those things and we cannot be able to use it? I said this before. you can have what you call fracking. You know, this is a system where you put a pipe maybe 10 miles away from the lake, and it goes under the ground, like you have got the Euro-tunnel between Britain and France. And you actually find where the oil is and frack it from there and put it somewhere else. Now, we need to understand our priorities, but also we need to get a company or people who know what to do. We don't necessarily have to do what happened in Ogoniland in Nigeria. Neither do we have to do what happened, what other people's mistakes have done. Because for us...
But Professor GC, accidents do happen. I mean,
yeah, but if you do fracking, oh yeah, but that's why we fly in airplanes. People fly in airplanes and they die. You cannot stop flying airplanes because people die.
Let's talk about liability. Who will be liable for that if an accident?
That's why I said they should create instruments. I said provided there are instruments which we are going to use and they will be monitoring and evaluation. So anyone else who goes there, there will be instruments. And those instruments are legal instruments which we need to put in place. If there is a spill, what happens and how do we protect the lake and what do we protect this and what do we do? That's what I'm saying. You can do fracking where you can actually put a pipe here and 10 miles away where you can actually put the rig and then have the oil down going through the pipe. You can do anything with innovation and intellectual willpower. Human beings are very clever. They can do anything provided they know what they're doing.
Now, you are a political leader, you have a political party, president of a political party, and Malawi is at loggerheads with Tanzania over the same issue, Lake Malawi. Would this not deepen this misunderstanding that is there between Malawi and...
As far as I'm concerned, Tanzania and Malawi got their independence differently and they were given the things which were nationhood. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to hear anything about Tanzania and Malawi talking because what we're using is what we're left with by the British. And the British can say anything else, but when we're getting independence, we're told what is ours. Tanzania was told what it was his. Tanzania and Malawi, they got independence at different times, but they were left with things, and whatever we're left, we have. Now, if somebody is trying to cause a problem, I have got an issue with that person, but for us, as a nation, we're talking about our lake, which was given to us at the time of independence and when colonial powers left. So that's why I want to hear. Anything else I don't want.
Is this what you advised to the president when you met him over the same issue?
What I'm telling you is what I believe, and what I think Malawi should believe also, because that's the only way out.
My question is, you've met the president over the same issue, isn't it?
We did meet the president.
We talked. Advised him.
What I'm saying, I'm not a presidential advisor. I'm a political person who can speak my mind according to the political acumen which I believe in. So the president himself is as his own official advisor. I'm not a presidential advisor, but what I am is a person who understands exactly what is happening around and the belief that what I have, and that's the belief which I think Malawi should have as well.
He sought an input from political leaders on this issue. Is this what you told the president?
Whatever it is, we discuss. Okay, if I'm telling you that, can I say something different from you and what I said to the president? Am I mad? So what I'm telling you is exactly what I believe, and what if somebody asks me a question, that's how I'll speak. That's why I'm speaking it on the national radio, so that everybody understands what I think and what I feel.
Mr. Mfiti, who is on the line here, is advising traditional leaders along the shores of Lake Malawi to oppose this idea of exploring oil, whether it's oil or gas on Lake Malawi. What do you say as a political leader yourself?
It's democracy. So, unless he gives them the information which they require and is convinced about, it's democracy. This is Malawi. Okay? And the unfortunate thing is that the majority will rule. So whatever the majority will be, the outcome will be that. But majority is what majority is about.
How long would it take for Malawi to recover in an event that an accident has occurred, spillage like what we have seen in Niger Delta, it happened in the US? How long do you think Malawi can take to recover from that, judging from challenges that it is facing now?
What I'm saying is that we are going to have legal instruments, and when legal instruments are in place, those things will be ironed out, and people will know exactly what to do, and they can be monitored and evaluated. So that's what I can say. Now, with the decision that we made by the government, and the government is convinced that we can do it, and we've got legal instruments, because God has given us the oil, which is the resource. He has given us fish, which is the resource. He has given us the water, which is the resource. Those resources, we have to use it for the betterment of humanity so that we progress as a country and as a team. So in so far as we're concerned, we should use the legal instruments and be in a position where we can actually benefit from this. So if people are using emotions and they think that Malawi should stagnate and remain, this is democracy, which means we cannot stop anyone from doing what they believe. So they have enough facts and information, and they know what they're doing for the betterment of the nation, but not on individual emotions, which will not accept.
Professor John Chis is well in the Humot party.
It's perfect. Everything is perfect in Humot party.
Are you starting again 2019 for the president?
But you see, these questions are difficult to answer because it depends totally on the political people in my party. When I've got a convention, if they vote for me, fine. But people should know that the Humot party.
When are you voting your convention?
Oh, we are going to plan. We are planning about this because usually 5 years is not yet up because it's 2013 when I was actually made the president. So 5 years from that, I think it should be 2018 sometime. and we're going to have a convention, and then things people will know whether we're standing or not as me or the party as it stands. But the principles of most parties will not change whether I'm standing or not.
But some people are doubting the future of your party. Look, after 2014, you have never participated in any election. We have seen it by elections being conducted.
Yeah, sure, I agree.
Why? Why are you failing to participate in these by-elections?
Because what happens is that the by-election is basically a continuation of a political system of 2014. Now, we did not get an MP during 2014. Now, the chances of us getting an MP is very much remote when you are actually in between. So what we've been doing is to build a party so that we can get the people who are very serious about being MPs, who then can join more the party and then contest. And once we have some MPs and therefore convince Malawians that this party is trustworthy, we'll start participating in things. But since people decided that we are not ready to be part and parcel of the governing system of Malawi, that's why we didn't get an MP, which I agree, because we started a bit late. So hopefully 2018 onwards, should we, whatever happens, I'm sure we'll be part of the normal democratic process. We've been building a team. You know, a child grows, is born, he grows, and then becomes an adult. And I do hope that the Malawians will look at our adulthood and give us a chance when time is right.
Now, many thanks that you joined us in the program today.
Thank you very much.
Now, back to you, Mr. Mfiti. Are you there to frustrate the government, Mr.
Has Nigeria done well? Have the benefits trickled down to the ordinary citizens? We are there to help government of the day do its business properly. We have, imagine, Mangochi district. It's one of the largest populated districts, whose main source of income is the fishing industry. Imagine if the lake is polluted and these people lose fisheries. Does the president want to lose vote from this area?
So you think it will have some political implications?
Yes, it's going to have a huge political implications. They are going to lose their vote. We're talking of over 2 million people. This is not a joke. We're talking of these people losing livelihood, losing their own source of income. We are talking of protein. We are talking of drinking water. Water is life. Already we have huge problems in this country in accessing drinking water. So I'm very sure the president is going to make a prudent decision at the end of the day.
If you're just joining us, welcome. This is Kabiro Straight Talk. Today in the program, I'm talking to one of the country's environmentalists, Godfrey Mfiti, who heads Institute of Sustainable Development, ISD. I did ask you, if the government is to proceed with this idea, this project, what will be your next course of action? Of course, you've told me that they have assured you that the president was not implying that they are doing that, but then we have seen governments indicating right, but they tend to the left. What do you do? Should they proceed with that? It's
not a question of me doing something. I've done my part. I've authored a book that is in public domain, that has got information. People must access this book, read this book, have the information on what it means to drill oil in a freshwater lake. Then they can decide to take any action further.
I'm
just an activist. I'm just one citizen out of the 17 million people.
I'll ask you more about the book in a moment, but are you getting that needed support from the public, you as an activist?
Yes. I'm getting the support. I'm just there as an activist, a mere citizen. I do not have powers to do anything. I can only articulate and advocate for an idea, and when the public wants that idea, feels that they are betrayed, they will take action.
What about asking the government who is likely to be liable, who will be liable in case of accidents, if this is to take place like spillage? We have seen it in other countries. We talk about Niger Delta. People are suffering there because of the same kind of a project. I mean, have you asked the government who is likely to be liable?
This will be the next course of action. Again, we need all this to be put in black and white if they decide to proceed. In the first place, we need these oil licenses investigated. Otherwise, we are going to take a legal challenge in the near future. We are getting together to see how best we can move forward. We strongly feel that the licenses were awarded dubiously, and then the companies do not have a proper track record, and then there is no liability in place on who is going to clean up should there be any spillage, and who is going to offer, let's say, the safety nets for our people. So we are still working. It's a long way. Remember, these contracts are for the 30 years. We are still in the first phase of these contracts. We are still in the first in the first phase of the oil exploration. So we do believe that the decisions might change in the near future.
Lake Malawi, The Coming of Disaster is the book that you have authored. Am I right?
Yes, Lake Malawi, The Coming Disaster.
You're launching it tonight?
Tonight, 6:30 Four Seasons in Lilongwe.
What exact message are you trying to put across in this book?
In this book, where I have articulated the current challenges that Lake Malawi is facing. There are a number of challenges that the lake is facing. And then I have also articulated this issue of exploring and drilling oil in a freshwater lake. And then I have also given a proper description of what this lake is all about. Why is it unique? Why is it different from any other lake? Then I've given also examples from countries where oil has been drilled. I've mentioned all these methods, the onshore and offshore drilling methods. So this book is very informative. It is going to help decision makers, policy makers, to revisit their decision. And for your information, I've sent copies to the State House for His Excellency and his delegation to have a view of what I'm suggesting to them as policy makers, as our president and as our leaders in this country.
Who is bankrolling you? I mean, to write a book, it needs a lot of money.
To write a book doesn't need a lot of money. It needs you, courage, to research, and to work on that. I've used my own resources to do that. It has not been easy. It has been there over 2 years. If someone was bankrolling me, I would have done that in a week or so. But this has been a process. There are many authors out there. I have done this for being passionate on the environment and for being passionate about this issue of Lake Malawi. I see that there is a gap that is missing there. People are not being told the truth. In times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. So I've decided to tell the truth, to make sure that everyone is well informed about the environmental consequences that lies ahead. Should this process be continued, the government or anyone must address these challenges first.
The environment is your area of specialization, isn't it?
Yes, it's my area.
Where did you study these issues?
I've studied these issues in South Africa at the University of Cape Town.
And apart from activism, is there anything that you do, Mr. Mfiti?
Yes, I am a consultant.
Who is attending this book launch? How will it
Yes,
go?
we have members from the government. We have members from the civil society. We have members from the diplomatic corps. We have the Finnish consular officer who is the guest of honor there.
You're getting the support also from the international community?
They are interested to hear my view.
You seem to be talking one language on this issue.
Yes, they have concerns.
Recently, you conducted a cleanup on the part of the lake in Mangochi, together with some members of the diplomatic corps. Is it a way of blocking this project of exploring oil on the lake?
Not blocking the project, but sending a message on the importance of water in this country.
So how often will you be doing this? Was it a one-time
No, we are trying to tell the message to the local people, the owners of this lake, those who directly benefit from the lake in Chembe village, in Cape Maclear and other areas, that there is a need to make sure that we do not dispose waste into this water, like plastics and other materials into this water, because these plastics, they are not biodegradable. They can kill the wildlife. They do not decompose. As such, they may even affect themselves. We have seen in our cleanup, we had other materials that were found, such as grasses and other materials that were found that would injure people who are using the lake. So it is very important that we keep the lake clean. The other message we are sending is that we need to keep the entire ecosystems around this lake clean. We need to protect the entire ecosystems, like the mountains and the area surrounding, the rivers that are inflows to Lake Malawi. We need to plant trees along these rivers. We need to plant trees along the mountains, which we have, so that we conserve our lake.
Well, Mr. Mfiti, let me once again thank you very much that you joined us in the program today, and I wish you well as you go ahead to launch your book tonight.
Thank you so much.
Many thanks indeed.
And this is how we conclude this edition of Capital Straight Talk. Today in the program, I was talking to Godfrey Mfiti, one of the country's environmentalists, who is also Executive Director of Institute of Sustainable Development, ISD.